Okay, your learning goal. The student will know and be able to define characteristics of cultural groups of Florida's early history and be able to describe the effects of European colonization in Florida on each group. You should be on page 56 in your social studies book. We are on chapter 2, lesson 3, French colonization. The Spaniards explored Florida looking for riches and a route to Asia. So here they are on their boat coming to land. It says, why do you think the French came to Florida? Write 2 possible reasons. Now, how many? Not 1. 2 possible reasons. Why do you think? Make a prediction. Why do you think they were coming to Florida? The Treaty of Tordesillas divided the Americas between Spain and Portugal. It ignored that Native Americans already lived there. The treaty stated that only Spain and Portugal could explore and colonize the Americas. To colonize is to build settlements ruled by another country in a new place. Other countries like France and England believed they had a right to explore and colonize too. People in France still believed there was a way to get to Asia by sailing across the Atlantic Ocean. Like other countries, the French were looking for easier trade routes. They were also interested in challenging Spain's claim to the Americas. The French come to Florida. That's a headline. What do you think we're going to be reading about? The French come to Florida. In 1562, French explorer Jean Ribault, see, teachers make mistakes too. That's why they have these in parentheses to help you pronounce. If you looked at it, it looks like Jean Ribault, right? But it's pronounced, it's a French name. It's called Jean Ribault. Landed on a small island in the St. Johns River. Ribault claimed the land for France. He marked the spot by building a 5-sided marker with a bronze shield there. Ribault's group soon met the Timucua. The two groups had a friendly exchange. The French gave the Timucua fine blue gowns as gifts. The Timucua gave the French berries, corn, fish, cucumbers, and beans. Later, Jean Ribault explored farther north and then returned to France. So here we go. We have a picture. It says, Jean Ribault met Saturiba, the chief of the Timucua. The two men exchanged gifts. In this image, the 5-sided marker Ribault built is behind them. Here's a 5-sided marker, and here are the two men talking. Page 57. In 1564, a French man named René Laudonnière arrived in Florida. He brought a group of 300 French colonists and many provisions, or supplies. So provisions are supplies. Here's that key word, that context clue to help you figure out if you didn't know what provisions meant. There's a comma, and it says or supplies. So provisions must be supplies. Laudonnière and the colonists built a fort. A fort is a military settlement surrounded by walls. So right here it gives you the definition in the sentence. What is a fort? It is a military settlement surrounded by walls. It was located near present-day Jacksonville. They named it Fort Caroline. Number 1. If an enemy attacked Fort Caroline, what would they have to get past? Circle the parts of Fort Caroline that protected it. So here's a picture. Look and see. Here's the word cannon, ditch, fence, wall of earth, another cannon. What would they have to get past to get to the fort? This here is Fort Caroline. Here's a picture of it. It says, or here's the caption. French settlers built Fort Caroline near the St. Johns River. Page 58. Fort Caroline. Fort Caroline was a colony protected by cannons, ditches on 2 sides, and strong walls all around. People living in the colony included soldiers, women, children, farmers, and artisans, or skilled workers. Oh, look, there's a word with a comma, then the word or. So an artisan must be a skilled worker. Some colonists became more interested in finding gold and silver than in farming. Many left the colony to seek treasure. Soon, they ran out of supplies. They asked the Timucua for food. The relationship between the two groups grew strained. The Spaniards attack. Fort Caroline soon faced even bigger problems. Spain learned about the fort. The Spaniards did not want another country to have a colony in Florida. The Spanish were bringing riches from South America back to Spain. They had to protect their shipping routes in the Caribbean. The King of Spain made plans to destroy Fort Caroline. When the King of France heard about Spain's plans, he sent Jean Ribault back to Florida to protect Fort Caroline. Ribault was put in charge of a group of French ships. When Spanish ships arrived at the St. Johns River, they found the fort strongly protected. Soon afterward, a battle began. The leader of the Spanish ships was Pedro Menendez de Aviles. Pedro Menendez de Aviles. When he saw the French ships protecting the fort, he led his ships to the south. They found a harbor where they set up camp. Ribault followed Menendez de Aviles, but his ships got caught in a hurricane. Many of his ships were destroyed. Meanwhile, Menendez de Aviles decided to attack Fort Caroline. It was a surprise attack, and the French settlers lost. Laudonnière escaped, but Ribault was killed. Spain had put a swift end to France's dreams for a colony in Florida. Let's take a look at these pictures here. It says the French built Fort Caroline in 1564. So that's what it looked like when they were building it. And then Spain attacked Fort Caroline in 1565. Take a look at these pictures. I see some fires going on. They were destroying it. And then, after the French were beaten, the Spanish raised their own flag. So on the fort, they put up the Spanish flag. Number 2, categories. Write the following names in the chart below under the correct category. So you have Jean Ribault, Pedro Menendez de Aviles, and René Laudonnière. French and Spanish leaders in Florida. Who was a French leader? Who was a Spanish leader? You have to go back from these names right here. There's 1, 2, 3 names. Who was French? Who was a Spanish leader? Pause and continue when you're ready. Number 3, cause and effect. Why did the French want to explore Florida? What did they want? Why did they want to come and explore Florida? Give me a sentence or two right here on these blue dotted lines. Pause and continue when you're ready. Number 4, you and your family are living in Fort Caroline in 1565. The Spaniards suddenly attack and take over the fort. Why do you think you might be forced to move? Go ahead and write your thoughts after what you learned from reading these couple pages.